Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Bedrock Hardcore. In this episode, we're going to be taking this world from day 700 all the way to day 800. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. This is the first video that I'm recording since hitting 10,000 subscribers on this channel. So once again, guys, thank you so much. This is a pretty crazy milestone to hit, and I'm excited for the many more to come. I appreciate all of the support recently. I have a few things that I'm really excited to do in this episode, but first, as always, we need to do the tradition that I do at the start of each video. And if you've watched the other episodes of this series, you'll know what's coming. So here we are in the end dimension, and as you can see, I'm making pretty good progress on mining this entire thing out. As you can see, this 100 by 100 area in the center here is currently down to Y37. So as always, let's do 20 days of endstone mining and see just how much progress we can make. And some time has now passed and we have got this area down to Y28. So yeah, we're chipping away at this, making slow but steady progress. Also, building that shulker farm in the last episode has been really useful because I've just been able to store all of the endstone in these shulker boxes here. But yeah, with that tradition out of the way, it's time to start work on a new project. And that project is to make a nether hub. If we take a look in the nether here, you'll see that I have a huge area at the bottom of the nether, but there's not really anything here. That's partially because I don't have that many nether portals going to different places in this world at this point in time, because I haven't built that much stuff in different locations yet, but at some point in this world, there'll be loads of different places that I'll have builds. And having a nether hub is just the easiest way to travel long distances. So of course, I want a nether hub that looks pretty cool. So I've spent the last couple of days in real life scratching my head, designing a nether hub of my own, and I think it looks pretty decent. But before we can build it in this world, we're gonna have to gather the materials. So I've got the list of all the materials I'm gonna need on my other monitor, so let me go through my entire storage system here and see how many of the materials I already have. Okay, it's a little time later now, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the materials I'm gonna need. So I guess it's time to get to work collecting. So first up, I'm gonna need about 2.5 shulker boxes of quartz. So I guess I'm just gonna fly around in the nether for a little while. Alright, well that took a little bit longer than expected, but I now have the shulker box and a half of quartz, which is pretty cool. But now I'm gonna need about half a shulker box of crimson logs and half a shulker box of warped logs. Man, I love the color of warped stuff. I don't know, it just seems like the perfect shade of blue to me. Alright, wood has been collected. As you can see, I've got the half a shulker of crimson and the half a shulker of warped. Next up, I need 16 stacks of basalt. Okay, basalt has now been collected as well, which means that I've got all of the nether materials I'm gonna need. But there are still two different kinds of items that I'm in need of. So let's head back into the overworld and go searching for amethyst geodes, because the two materials that I need are actually calcite and blocks of amethyst. And I don't need a crazy amount, so I think I'll be able to get enough just from 1 or 2 geodes. All I need to do is just find a big cave and actually try and find some. Okay, it's a little while later now, and due to some amethyst geodes that tragically don't exist anymore, I now have all of the amethyst blocks and calcite that I needed for this nether hub. So I'm gonna fly back home and craft all of the materials that I've gathered into all of the items that I'm gonna need. Okay, the items have now been fully crafted. As you can see, if we take a look in these shulker boxes here, these are all of the materials. So there's only one thing left to do, and that is of course to say goodbye to the overworld here, head into the nether, and finally begin building this nether hub. Man, I'm excited for this. So I think I'm gonna center this thing around 0, 0, just because I think that would be the only correct thing to do. But yeah, this nether nether hub is pretty generic. There's going to be a main center area surrounding 0, 0, and then 4 big holes going in each major direction. So yeah, nothing too complicated, but I am actually pretty proud of the design that I've come up with. Mind you, that is from my building standards, so don't get too excited. Anyway, let's start off by building the floor of this main center area, just with some deep slate brick slabs and some amethyst geodes. I have a reference photo of my design on my other monitor, so all I have to do is just keep looking back and forth, copying down the design. Alright, the floor of the main center area is now done, looking pretty cool as you can see. Now the next step is to start laying out the foundations of the big 4 halls. Obviously, these halls eventually are going to be super long in each 4 directions, but for now I'm just going to extend them in 50 blocks in each direction, because I think that is a good starting point. So yeah, I'm going to have 3 slabs like this in the center, and then 3 slabs on each of the edges here, and then I'll just connect them across, and basically what this does is create this little modular pattern of 3x3 squares. So I'll just keep repeating this pattern until I've completed this step. Okay, I now have the blackstone slab outlines fully in place. Now it's time to actually fill them in. So I'm gonna use a bunch of stripped crimson and warped stem, and I'm gonna place these in, I guess what you would call like a checkerboard pattern, just like this. As you can see, it creates a pretty cool effect, and then I'm gonna alternate these between warped and crimson, and I really like the way this looks. It obviously has a pretty good nether theme, as I'm building out of nether woods. So yeah, I'm just gonna get this done real quick, and hopefully this should look pretty cool. Alright, the logs have been placed successfully, and guys, look how cool this looks. I personally really like how it alternates between crimson and warped. I just think it looks cool. But yeah, now I'm basically just gonna add a bunch of calcite around the outside, and the floor should pretty much be done. Okay, calcite has now been placed, and damn, this looks pretty good in my opinion. Having this white outline made out of calcite just really brings in this whole floor together. But yeah, now it is time to begin working on these walls. So first of all, I need to create an outline out of polished basalt. Each time you see one of these calcite lines across here, there's gonna be a polished basalt pillar that goes up pretty high, and then in between these pillars I'll have them connected sideways with more basalt on the bottom and the top. Okay, basalt has now been placed, so I guess it's now time to just fill these walls in. First of all, I'll just do these little corner sections here. This part is very simple. I'm just gonna fill these sections in with warped and crimson fences. I'll just match whatever the color is perpendicular to it, if that made any sense at all. Alright, fences have been placed, but now it is time for the difficult part. I need to fill in all of these big sections in the wall, and unlike these sections here, which are just fences, I've made the designs for these big spots pretty complicated. So instead of taking you through it all, I think I'm just gonna build these off camera. So yeah, this is probably gonna take a while. Okay, so some time has now passed, as you can see on the top left of my screen, and yeah, I was right. This step took a pretty long time. But yeah, if we take a look here, this is the wall design. As you can see, I've got them alternating between crimson and warped once again, and yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. So now with the floor and the walls of this nether hub basically done, there's one more step to do, and that is of course the ceiling. This is gonna be a little bit more annoying to place. I'm just realizing now that I'm gonna have to dig a few layers out of this ceiling right here, because the wall will have some depth to it, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. First of all, I'm just gonna place a bunch of temporary blocks here. I think that's gonna make it a whole lot easier trying to build up here. Okay, temporary platform has now been placed. Now I'm gonna spend a little while digging out a bunch of blocks from the ceiling to give me enough space to build. And the area for the ceiling has now been fully dug out, as you can see. So now the only thing left to do to finish this entire build is just place all the decoration for the the ceiling here. First of all, I'm going to place a layer of quartz stairs, just like this. Now I'm going to place a layer of calcite on top of those stairs, and I'll have the calcite come across whenever there's a polished basalt pillar here. Okay, calcite has now been placed. Now I'm going to quickly do another layer of quartz stairs here, just above, but only in this center section here. So I'll just continue it round, just like that. And now, the second to last step of this nether hub is to place amethyst clusters, pretty much filling in these entire gaps. This might take a little bit of time, but I'll come back to you once I've done it. Amethyst has now been placed, and man, I love this block. I don't know, it gives kind of a magical feel. I like it. But we now have one more step to complete this nether hub, and that is to go around placing polished blackstone brick slabs. First of all, I'll do the little pattern in the center area bit here. So in the center, I'll just have a 3x3 square, and then in each direction, I'll have a line coming out like this, and then I'll have a 3 wide line here, 1 block away from the edge. Just like that. As you can see, it looks pretty cool. And then for these sections here, all I have to do is go around the edge, and then just connect them across in the center, and it forms this little grid pattern here. So once I've done this throughout the top of this entire build, the center of the nether hub is done. Obviously, we'll expand these tunnels super far in the distance in the future, but that probably won't be for a while. Anyway, I'm gonna finish placing these slabs and getting rid of these temporary blocks, and I'll see you to showcase the finished product. The nether hub is now done. Oh my gosh, this took a while. But yeah, this is the finished product. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this design. Me personally, I actually quite like how this came out. I don't think it's too shabby at all. But yeah, while I was building this, I actually reached day 750 if you take a look at the top left of the screen, which is pretty cool because that means that we are now 3/4 of the way to 1,000 days in this world, which is honestly pretty hype. I cannot wait to hit 1,000 days. But like I said before, I'm gonna extend these tunnels really far into the distance sometime in the future. For now, this project is completed. So the next thing that I'm gonna do in this episode is actually in this stronghold here. As you can see, this place is a little bit bland right now, and seeing as I'm already in the groove of building, I thought it might be cool to start work on a new project, which is gonna be making a build to support this end portal. Having my main end portal in a random stronghold just seems a bit too boring for me. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is dig up this room to the surface. That way I can have the end portal fully exposed to the sky. Well, some time has passed. As you can see, I've got quite the area dug out from the surface here. As you can see, I've got a few different layers. That's just because the design that I've built is kind of staggered, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I probably went a little bit overkill for this, but I think this end portal room is gonna look really cool once it's fully built. But yeah, like I said, I've already made the design in a creative world, so now it's just a case of gathering the materials. And also, oh my gosh, I forgot that I built this nether hub. I can't lie. That took me by surprise. But yeah, I've got my materials list on my other screen. So first of all, I need a shulker box of endstone bricks. So I'll just go to the top chest of endstone here. Never mind, I guess the third top chest, because I have so much endstone from mining out the big island. But yeah, here is a shulker box of endstone, and I believe I can just craft this straight into endstone bricks. Yeah, I can. Cool. That's the shulker box of endstone bricks, fully acquired. Next up, I need 4.5 shulker boxes of black concrete. Luckily, I don't have to go and kill a bunch of squid for black dye, because I actually have an add-on from bedrocktweaks.net, which allows me to turn coal into black dye, which is extremely handy. Unfortunately though, I don't think I have a chest in my storage system for coal. I've no idea why, I guess I just forgot. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to try and find some coal in my chest monster here. This right here is just for all of the stuff that currently doesn't get sorted into the storage system, but I've also just put a bunch of stuff in here instead of into the storage system up there by mistake. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try and shift through quite a lot of items here. Alright, cool. It turns out that I actually have a ton of coal and black dye and black concrete. I'm not entirely sure where I have all of this black concrete from. I guess I had a bunch left over from decorating these rooms. But yeah, let me first place down a bunch of this coal ore so that I can use my fortune pickaxe to mine it all up. Then I'm gonna get all of my coal and turn it all into black dye. Okay, I actually have so much black dye now. What the heck? So let me get a bunch of sand and a bunch of gravel and craft a whole bunch of black concrete powder. Okay, cool. All of the black concrete powder has now been crafted. The only thing is though, I'm not going to be building out of concrete powder. I'm going to be building out of solid concrete. So we're going to have to convert this. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a concrete converter at this point in time. So I guess we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Manual concrete converting. Yippee! This is probably gonna take a while. The powder has now been placed in this big tower up to height limit, as you can see. Now I just need to fly all the way up to the top, place a bunch of water down the sides, and get to work mining. Okay, black concrete has been mined, and I've also gone ahead and collected the rest of the materials that I'm gonna need for this build. So let's pack up these shulker boxes, head to the stronghold, and start building. I'm really excited to show you guys this stronghold room design. I haven't seen that many people decorate their portal rooms, so I think this is gonna look really cool once it's done. So first of all, let me place some black concrete just one block below this end portal and have this come all the way to the edge here. This is just gonna be like a little pathway to nowhere, basically. That's a good idea, actually. Maybe in the future I should make this into like a long tunnel that goes somewhere specific, but for now we're just gonna have these 4 pathways coming out from each side, just like that. And I think I'm gonna get rid of this nether portal just for now. We'll put this in a proper position once I've finished with this decoration. And now I'm gonna place a bunch of tinted glass above this concrete. I've been loving using tinted glass recently. I don't know, I think I just prefer it to stained glass. Also, I just realized that you can actually see through the end portal from the bottom. That's kind of scuffed. Not sure if that's an intentional feature or not. But yeah, now I'm gonna get my purple pillars and I'm just gonna place a ring of them outside of this black concrete. This just gives it a nice looking border. If you're wondering how I've designed both of these builds in this video, by the way, I literally just do it off the cuff and then I hardly ever change anything. I'm sure if I went over it and kept reiterating things as I'm going along, I could create stuff that looks a lot better, but I just prefer doing it this way where I quickly muck up something and then build it in my world. I don't know, it just seems a lot faster and I think the end results usually look okay. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this episode is by far the most building intensive of the series so far. So let me know in the comments whether you like that or not. I've been enjoying making these builds in this world. But yeah, now with these purple borders fully in place, I'm gonna place some endstone bricks just like that, and I'll bring them up by 1. And then in the center here, I'm just gonna build up some pretty short walls by alternating some end rods and some endstone walls just like that. And now what I'm gonna do is pretty much just extend these walls across this corridor here. So I'll have some stairs pointing outwards, and then I'll go ahead and build up this pillar on this side once again. And yeah, this is just gonna be the central bit at the bottom here with the end portal in the middle, and then obviously this design is going to go all the way up to the surface and everything will point towards the center here. Also, I just realized that this end portal is actually at Y0, which is a bit of a coincidence. I like that a lot. I'm not sure if that's a feature that all end portals are at Y0. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, whatever. Alright, now I'm going to quickly mine out a few blocks here and decorate this wall because a pathway leading to a bunch of stone and deep slate is a little bit boring. So yeah, let me place some purple along here. Then I'll have some endstone stairs on top. Then I'll place some purple stairs on the sides here, just like that. And then I'll have some black concrete 1 layer behind, just to make it look like it has a little bit more depth. I hope that sounded like I knew what I was doing, by the way. In case you didn't know, I really don't. But yeah, that is that little design for this part of the wall here. So I'll just go and do that 3 more times. Alright, looking good, looking good. This place is coming along now. We're almost done with this bottom section. Soon I'll start decorating these huge walls, which obviously have a lot less detail, so I'll go through those very fast in the video. Of course, it's going to take a lot longer for me. But yeah, let's connect these blocks along the top here, just like that. And as you can see, this is going to be the foundation of the next floor, basically, if you'd call it that. I'm not sure. Let me make these walls 2 blocks high instead of 1 block high, and also connect everything up around the corners. As you can see, I really enjoy building in, I guess you'd call it like modular patterns. I don't know, I just like symmetry. I've never really been a fan of natural style building, if that makes sense. But to be fair, I've never given it a good go, so maybe I'll try it at some point. Anyway, now in these 4 sections here, I'm gonna place a bunch of black concrete on the bottom layer with some tinted glass on top. So keeping with the theme from down there. Alright, and that is basically the bottom section of this end portal room complete. I'll still need to build some walls, but I'm not gonna lie, I may or may not have forgotten to design that in the creative world. So if I have time, I'll come back and design these walls on camera once I've finished the rest of the build. But yeah, now it's time to decorate these walls. The way I'm gonna decorate these walls is literally the exact same way that I'm gonna decorate those walls and those walls. So I'll just show me doing this wall first, and then I'll repeat the process off camera. So first of all, let me build up some endstone bricks on the corners, and also in these sections here. And pillars have been placed. I've also gone ahead and connected them across the top, just like this, as well as digging out a few blocks behind as well, just so I have some space to actually build. So yeah, for these big sections here, I'm gonna have these big purple pillars coming up 1 block behind the endstone, just like this, and then I'll go ahead and do it on this side as well. Then I'll connect them both across with some stairs and some slabs, just like that, and of course I'll do it along the top here as well. Then I'm actually gonna have some end rods coming up in the center here. As you can see, I'm really sticking to the theme of the end. I wish there was an end update so we had a bunch more blocks to work with, but that somehow still hasn't happened. But yeah, I'm gonna have this design across basically all of these walls here with some black concrete behind it. As you can see, it looks pretty minimalistic. I find it quite clean. And then in these center bits here, it's just gonna be even simpler. I'm gonna have black concrete around the back and the edges with end rods coming up in the center. So yeah, it's currently day 783. Hopefully I'll be able to repeat this process all the way to the top before day 800. And just like that, the decoration is complete. I actually quite like how this came out. As you can see, these walls get progressively larger as they go up in height, and I think it looks pretty cool. As always, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this build, and I just flew into a wall. But yeah, if you take a look at the top left of the screen, you'll see that it's actually day 800. I actually finished on around about day 795. So what I did was I spent a little while adding some new items onto my auto storage here. As you can see over here, the amount of items that don't get sorted into the system has got considerably smaller, which is nice. I still have this entire hall here and most of this hall as well to add more items into this thing, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, unfortunately today we have run out of time, so I'm gonna have to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought of all of the building. I thought it was pretty fun. But yeah, if you enjoyed this one, please consider leaving a like and also subscribing to the channel, as I'm trying my best to reach 20,000 subscribers. So if you'd like to help me out, that would be super appreciated. Anyway, with all of that said, I'll see you in the next episode.